Some people are
Yeah.
buying and budgeting and, staying within. A lot of people build their PCs based off on the titles that we have, today. They weren't really planning on something like this. And I'm just worried about DirectX 12. I'm telling you, DirectX 12 and a custom engine. They're not even using, they went away from the Unreal Engine that they were using. So they have their own engine and they're running that same engine on DX12. Hello and welcome to the Chicane Podcast, where we discuss all things in the sim racing world. I'm your host, Jason Rivera, and I'm joined here by Mr. Eric Kelly and Jeff Smart. Happy New Year. How's everybody doing?
Happy New Year, man. Doing good. How about yourself?
Man,
Happy New Year, gentlemen.
In the recovery phase, bro.
It's like that,
Yeah.
the holidays come up and then you like just hang on and like, all right, get back into the normal swing of things of life and stuff. So, but great as
Definitely.
always to see
Yeah.
you, gentlemen.
Yep.
That's what's
Always.
up, man. So it's, first of all, it was a great end of 2024. We had a plethora of guests on the show throughout since the show started in May. So very grateful to be here, and grateful to everybody that's following the show and listening and subscribing on the YouTube channel. So if you are a listener, please hit us up with a view and a subscribe over there to help out. Appreciate it a lot. And awesome, we are in the same calendar year for AC Evo. I can't wait to get
Hey.
this going. But first, a few announcements. So yes, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. Danny Newman, from the last episode, he spoke about the possibility of adding Solpec to the arsenal. And that's a reality. If you're seeing this now, he's got the Spectra XR and the Spectra LT that you can download right now on any of his basic membership options that he has. But yeah, that's all I have. A few, actually, I
Daniel,
have a few.
You're the
Yeah,
man.
go ahead.
You're the man. Thank you. Thank you. I can't
Daniel
wait.
busted ass, bro. He did.
I saw the picture and I was like, let's go. Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm pumped.
So
That's dope, man. Yeah.
I have a quick little shout out to the wheel here. It finally came back. I've had almost the whole month with her, and it's a solid wheel. Finally got all the labels done up, and just wanted to show you guys that the wheel's here to stay. It's not going back via DHL. And if anybody has any questions, email us at the Chicane Podcast at Gmail or comment down below, and I'll get back to you. So
Nice.
let me pass this over to Eric. Eric, what's going on with you, man? Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year, man. Merry Christmas to everybody. Look, I finally did it. Shout out to Vlad. I joined an iRacing league. I got my first race next week. The Global iRacing League.
Snap.
Shout out to them. Jason mentioned it a while back, and just getting signed up and just the entire process, even before racing, has been mind-boggling. I mean, it is, when I say they have everything buttoned up, they've thought of everything. The organization is top-notch. The Discord is top-notch. Look, I haven't even raced yet, and I'm already impressed. I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be fun, and
Yes,
just
sir.
looking forward to some clean racing with and getting better. Like, I
Yeah,
know I can
man,
do that.
you're gonna see, bro. Next week we'll be able to give an update on this. And without giving away too much, I'm planning on having at least one or two of the gentlemen that run this league come on the show and give us a full breakdown,
That'd be
a
great.
more in-depth view, because this show is not just the high-profile VIPs that we've had on the show, but it's a podcast for sim racers, and I want just a regular sim racer. You know what I mean, Vlad?
Mhm.
We're in talks about getting him on the show and giving us a full in-depth guide, more than we can, right? Because he's an admin
Yeah.
over there, and He actually runs the league that you joined, which is the M2. You didn't just join a league, bro. You joined a multi-class league. So we're
Yeah.
racing with M2s on the road, the new
Hmm.
BMW M2s, and the MX5s are on track, which are the slower car. I got to be careful of who I say that to because a lot of people might get pissed off. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
bro, they got so mad that we had to split chats. We had a split chat. We had the BMW chat. They didn't want to mess with us because we were telling them to move the hell out the way because they're too slow. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
funny.
you're gonna see what you've been missing, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of talented individuals in that league. They're faster than me. I'm telling you, most of them. I'm always mid pack, and mid pack is fine with me. But the top end
Yeah.
people, man, they're they're gunning for success, big time. So
Hey, that's awesome, man. I'm excited.
yeah, but they're not. They're super friendly and welcoming. It's not about lap times or I'm faster. Everybody's just trying to improve and not
Mm.
ruin someone's race on the first lap because
Yeah.
that's
That
what I
first
mean
turn, right?
on the first turn. They tell you to
Yeah.
lock your wheels and keep them locked, and that seems to, people crash, and I was
Mm.
able to avoid them easily instead of someone that just crashes and lets the wheel go and the car is just rolling
Uh,
backwards and they don't stop the car. They don't bother to stop the car, and you don't know if he's gonna stop, if he's gonna pull forward, what's he gonna do? So
oh
it's kind of
man.
cool to see the discipline being laid down there and level of
Yeah.
respect. So excited
Yeah.
for you.
Eric, I
Yeah.
can't
Come
wait
on.
to hear your experience from that, man. Because it's I tip my hat to you. It's a little intimidating signing up for a league in those. That's a squared away league, So it's nice
Yeah.
that it's squared away, right, and organized well and things like that. But it's also
Mhm.
a little bit nerve wracking, I bet, jumping into a league that's squared away and has tons of people like that, So, dude,
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear next week when we chat to see how your first race went, man.
Yeah, man. I'm just trying to get some laps in and at a minimum not be the guy that ruins everybody's race. I'm just trying to
Nah,
finish
man.
Aren't we
clean.
all? Aren't we all?
Just make sure you're practicing on that track a little bit,
Yeah.
not a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I just need to, I'm not coming in there expecting to, be on the podium or anything, but just want to have fun and just find my groove and, just do well.
I believe you will. So we will definitely. I am gonna try. I can't promise on the show, but I got my new PC and everything, getting it set up and everything. And I thought that it would be seamless, but stuff always happens without saying shit. But shit always happens. So getting the streaming thing back to where I had it. So
Mm.
I'm at a 80% chance that I might put that out live, and if we do, there'll be a link to the replay if you want to go back and check me and Eric out, just banging it
Yeah.
out on the track with each other. So it'd be cool. I think it'll be cool to see.
Oh
So
yeah.
all right. So what about you, Jeff? Happy New Year. What's going on, man? 2025 already.
Dude, we Christmas is come and gone. New Year's is come and gone. My little dude was over the moon with his new little go-kart that he got from Santa. So he has
Sweet.
put like 15 miles on the go-kart already. You can like check it on the
Damn.
app and stuff,
Sheesh.
dude. And, like after
Oh, that's
school, we
cool.
were like doing laps around the neighborhood and stuff. And then Santa obviously bought some cones. So we have a little area behind our house and we set up like cones and stuff and we make a little track and stuff. So he's got out of like beginner speed and he's got, I forget what it's called, sport mode. So it goes up to like 19 miles an hour. So watch out.
Oh, okay.
Little dudes on the track to be the next, have a seat in F1. But dude, like just to see his little progression of, oh, I can
Vinny
like,
Verstappen.
yeah, man, it's just cool to see his progression of speed and like. So I keep mine like at the race mode, if you will. So it goes, the full pull.
Oh,
Like
there's
I can
another
go,
level.
oh, bro, this
So
thing goes faster than it should. And this thing's marketed for kids, and there's no way kids should be going like 28 miles an hour in a go kart. But
Oh
like,
damn,
wow.
if we're going
that's
around a
bad.
corner, like I need to be able to jump up ahead and make sure there's no cars coming the other way and all this other stuff, right? Like the things dad's supposed to do. But he calls it like, oh, hey, dad, when am I getting new speed, the next speed boost? Like you have the speed boost. I was a kid. We keep working on these little tracks and stuff, and maybe we'll get it eventually before you wrap this thing around a telephone pole or something. So but it's cool. It's an absolute blast to go out there after school,
Yeah.
jump in there for an hour or so, go for a ride and set up a little track. And, I chase him around the track, little tracks we make up, which is super fun. And then, sometimes I have him chase me in the higher thing to make him go just a little faster than he's comfortable going. But dude, it's
Mhm.
awesome. It's an absolute blast going out there with your kid and ripping it up a little go-kart. So we've been having an absolute blast. Um, in
Yeah,
the
man.
rig and in the actual the physical go-kart. It's super fun.
Yeah, you should take them to, we have like some of those airfields that are like empty, that they don't use them,
Yeah,
and
we're
there's no
Hmm.
cars and stuff.
yeah,
You get
we're
massive straightaways, you know?
Yeah, so we're looking. I have a couple that I'm kind of been looking at for like abandoned parking lots and stuff that we can go
Yeah.
out and set some like long straightaways up and get them up in the speed and let him use that next speed boost, if you will,
Speed boost.
so he can get the full pull. But it's cool. Yeah, he's got a little helmet and his goggles and stuff, and yeah, it's a trip, man. It's a trip.
You got to
So
You
get them
ready to go?
gloves, man. You got
yeah,
gloves?
he's got gloves, but like you're like, hey, Keegan, let's just jump in and go for a quick ride. And he's got his helmet and goggles. Now, if you want gloves, you're like, God, we're just going for a rip around the neighborhood. Like we don't need all this stuff. Let's just
Yeah.
go.
Some freaking fire
Yeah.
retardant gloves and
Yeah, for
everything.
an electric go kart. Yeah, but it's super fun. It really is super. I don't know who's having more fun, him or me, or mom when she goes. So, but the little like
Yeah.
we have a 15, 16-month old now, and when we're just going around the little track, the wife hands the little baby to me, and I just hold on to him. We go slow around the track, and he loves it too. So,
Oh,
yeah, it's
that's
fun.
cool.
Fun had by all. We had a couple people over for Thanksgiving, or for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and obviously everybody had to jump in, and everybody's face came
Oh,
back
snap.
with a smile on it. So, yeah, they're a blast. They're an absolute blast. I don't know like I said, who having more fun, me, him, or mom.
Probably, yeah, man. I mean, that's the adrenaline on that alone, man. So I'm curious, man. Can you get tires for it? How long are these tires gonna last on
Yeah,
this thing?
so
Mhm.
I forget where I found, but I'm like Reddit has a whole script, a thread for these guys for this thing, and people will say they last about a couple months. And obviously I'm gonna have to probably replace mine quicker than his, because I'll just going faster and around corners and stuff. Obviously, gonna
You're a
wear through
bigger guy
tires,
too,
and I weigh more,
heavy.
right? Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
wear through mine, but yeah, so you can absolutely get some spare parts and stuff.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah.
That's cool. It's not
That's
like
dope.
one thing you buy and then it's done after. So
Oh,
that's kind of
bro,
cool that
it
it's.
better not be for the price we pay for these things.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
I mean,
say,
you
man,
told
those
me
are
how much it was. That's not bad, bro. For it to do 30 miles an hour basically on a hill, like
For a
downhill.
200-pound adult to get in this thing, and it squeezes together to have my little dude who's just turned 7 be able to get in there. That's cool. It's like within, I
Huh.
don't know, a minute and a half, you just undo some bolts, pull it apart, put the bolts back in, psh, go. Yeah, it's super
Sweet.
cool.
that's
Yeah,
nice.
super cool.
All right. Well, that's what's up, man. That's
Yeah, that's
teaching them
dope.
young, right? Getting them into racing. Who knows? You never know. So, um, well, I'm glad that we all here, we're all safe, and we all had fun, and we did our thing, and now we're back at the start of 25. It's an exciting time. Assetto Corsa's coming, and
Yeah.
with that, I just want to go over a brief little section about Assetto Corsa. So, if you guys notice, we've been covering track of the week, and Assetto Corsa, I think just after Christmas. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
They announced the actual tracks that are coming out on day one, launch day, and we
Yep.
have Laguna Seca, Brands Hatch, Imola Circuit, Mount Panorama, and the Suzuka Speedway Circuit. We've covered, what is that? Three of these? No, well, today, spoiler. Laguna Seca is up today, so technically three of those we're gonna try and give you as much info, but as we can about the history and the changes, right, and all this history behind the track and everything. But
Yeah.
prep wise, I would be practicing on these tracks right here just to get you a feel. and that way you can compare too, right? From sim to sim, it's a new sim. So with
Yeah.
that, I'm just going to go in with the requirements here for obviously the game's coming out on PC only for its early release. After that, I think consoles will start getting it at maybe a year out. But the biggest thing to take from this is no telemetry on launch day. So what does that mean?
Mm,
That means no sim hub on launch day. As
right.
of today, as of this recording, I hope that that changes. I know triple screen support is slated to launch at release day or early release day, which is the on the 16th of January, if I got that correct.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jason, I don't
Yes.
know if you're planning to cover it, but do you think they made a mistake by doing that? If they're
No.
releasing it just on PC with no telemetry, where I would be willing to bet 90% of PC users are using SimHub and they're not giving data to SimHub, do you think that's a mistake on their end?
Um, I think telemetry. I can't say it's a mistake or not. I mean, it's necessary for us to have it to use everything like our peripherals,
Right.
LEDs,
Like
but
our rev our the LED bar
lights,
rev light's gonna work and stuff like that?
no. So
Yeah,
rev
like
lights, yeah. Daniel had mentioned that rev lights could be put in, but it's a lot more work on them. It's harder on them because they don't have that data to look at or
right.
match it, whatever. But lovely dashboard won't work. Your lights won't work. Yeah. So anything SimHub just won't see the game. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
that's
I'm hoping that they just use. They have two games. They have ACC and they have AC. So why not just piggyback off the same telemetry rule? If I don't want to sound like an expert, but like different games share telemetry from older games, like F1 games do it because they're basically the same every year, so might as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
um Project Cars 1 and 2 shares telemetry, same thing. LMU gets telemetry from what is it called, uh, RF2. So RF2, it
Hmm.
borrows telemetry from them, and while they're building that telemetry, so hopefully the last thing we know is that it's not coming out. And Constantinos had covered that on the show, and I'm just reiterating that
Yeah.
you need to come in here with some expectations on what's going to work and what's not going to work. And if you look
Yeah.
at these requirements, they don't make any sense. And I'm going to tell you that right now. So I'm just going to go through and then I'm going to tell you why I think it'll make sense. So minimum, right? I'm going to go over the minimum spec that you're going to need to run this game. It's Windows 10, right? 64-bit. You'll need an Intel i5 8700K or an AMD 1500X, which is pretty damn. If you're on a 1500X, that damn. That's what I'm going to say. That's
Yeah.
that's old. So memory is kind of steep. You see this 16 gigs of RAM. A lot of people's system is 16 gigs of RAM, which is not no longer the case. It's not the gold standard no more. I think 32 should be like a bare minimum for a system now, 2025. GTX 1070, that's an NVIDIA GTX, and an RX 580, I'm assuming AMD.
Mhm.
DirectX 12. So here is where I'm going to call bullshit on this requirements because DX12 is new. It's always been buggy. I've used
Mhm.
DX12 on Flight Simulator 2020, and I've used it. I haven't tried it on the new one, but I've used it in another game, and every time I switched it to DX12, it's been a nothing but a frame rate mess. Always. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm worried about this. Broadband internet connection, that's kind of
standard.
obvious. Yeah. 100 gigabytes of available storage as a minimum.
Yeah.
Hey,
100 gigs. Yeah.
here's an Jason, back to your network piece. I didn't think that they were going to release their multiplayer.
Oh, well, the game requires to be connected, right? To the server.
Does it?
So, yeah, it does.
Okay. I don't know
Yeah.
if you
For
could download it
licensing.
totally and okay, fair.
I hope that you can for those that can't be online all the time. But
Yeah, a lot
yeah,
of
I
games are
mean,
going to that just for your license
yeah,
validation
just
or
for
whatever.
That's true. Yeah.
not only
So
that, for license and for any anti-cheat or whatever needs to have an active internet connection to talk to the network and say, oh yeah, this is legit. Okay.
Fair enough.
yeah,
Sound card integrated. This is irrelevant. Steam VR, Oculus VR, and OpenXR. Honestly, VR is supposed to come out launch day. I don't see that being smooth at all. Just letting you know.
yeah. I
SSD is
anticipate it being rough.
yeah, it's gonna be rough. So
Yeah,
that's the minimum, right? Recommended same OS, Windows 11 or 10. Um, Intel i5 10700K or an AMD 2600X. Same amount of memory, 16 gigs of RAM. They're stressing that. RTX 270 or an or Radeon RX 5600. Same thing. DirectX 12. DirectX 12. 100 gigs of space is basically saying the same thing. So here's my
uh,
thing. This game was run at a very early release version at the expo,
yeah,
and people were seeing some performance hits. And those computers, I can almost guarantee you, are some top of the line monsters. So just take this with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? When a game comes out for the first time, there's not going to be any drivers available for that title until we get them from either Nvidia or AMD. So your game's going to run like it's not going to run the way you think it's going to run, hopefully. So it's best to keep an open mind. And it's
yeah,
always, I'm just saying, prepare for the worst. Because if it's better than that, then great. But prepare for the worst.
yeah.
Anyway, those are the specs. They're available online. You can check on the Steam page. Um,
Did they
any
have like a
questions,
target?
guys? Yeah, what's up?
Did they have like a target resolution to go along with those specs? Is this like 1080, 60 FPS, or do we know that at all?
So
Because
I'm on
to your
PC.
point, these.
They don't really target resolution. It
Okay.
There's so much variables with that. You know what I mean, Eric? There's so many different
Yeah.
processors. There's so many different uh, resolutions now. We have so many video cards and mix and matching. Um,
Mm.
I guess they're doing a generalization with these requirements. But a 1070, bro, good luck running this game with a 1070.
Yeah, that's
You're gonna
what
get 30
that's
frames a
why.
second on a racing game.
Look, I was looking at that the processor, the graphics card. I'm like, what type of experience is that gonna
That's
deliver?
on low with everything completely off, no effects.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. They'll benchmark this so that way you're enticed to buy, right? Because they don't want to scare you off and say, hey, yeah, you're gonna need a 4090 or a 30. Yeah, you're gonna need a $2,000-3,000 video card just to run this game. Nobody will buy it, right? So,
Hey,
Yeah.
I have a
Well, I was gonna say
question.
even. Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead,
Go
Eric.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
what's up? What's
No,
up?
I was gonna say even with the recommended specs though. I mean, I understand. To your point, trying to market the game as being able to run on more hardware than it probably should. But even with the recommended, I mean, they recommend a 6-year old GPU.
Yeah, but still, bro. Eric, if the indicator here is the memory and the
Mhm.
DirectX. Why
Yeah,
does this game need 16 gigs of RAM? You know what I mean? There's on both minimum
yeah,
and the recommended.
yeah. The
They're
recommended
telling you,
really is
bro, you need
weird.
some RAM. Like you're gonna need some serious RAM, and they're not even telling us what kind of VRAM we need. They giving us a video card that
Mhm.
we can guess, right? 8 gigs of video memory, but on what? On low? On medium? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Those are the
yeah,
questions.
yeah.
So,
Oh, no, it's
gentlemen,
gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm
What's
obviously the new one to the party here when it comes to ultimately the gaming world here in the sim world when it comes to the PC. This is kind of the first game that I've been or the sim that I've been here when it like released besides LMU, is
Uh-huh.
this kind of like when it came out, I'm just kind of explaining it from the way I've seen it is everybody got super hyped when this was announced, and it just feels like it's been kind of whittled away a little bit over what is it's going to actually be. How long does it usually take before, it seems like now everybody's excited, and now we're kind of maybe we should really curb our expectations for this. When is what's the time frame for when other tracks are going to be released, and and the
Mm.
like the product as a whole, like LMU for example. Now, not a I don't want to use that as the case that we're comparing this to, is like that's still not even totally
Finished.
finished, right? And it's almost been what,
Mhm.
8 months. you
Yeah.
know, are is this kind of how we should be looking at games from now on, or Sims when they're released,
100%.
or
Yeah.
like these minimums and recommended are far lower than honestly I thought they were going to be. So to your point, Jason, I guess it's curb your expectations. I guess it just seems a little weird when it first came out that it was all this and that. Oh, the graphics were incredible, and now we're looking at it like, who, like that's a fairly low bar.
Well, yeah, I mean, relatively, this more speculation than anything. But to answer your question, I would definitely say 8 months to a year, or maybe
Wow. Okay.
yeah, before the game really becomes stable enough to rely on it on a sim to use it every day. There's gonna be bugs like crazy when this thing comes out.
Well,
That's
let me ask you this, and I'm sure, hopefully,
damn
maybe
sure.
I'm not the absolute lowest one when all compared to all our listeners that are just as curious as I am. Why do they release games that aren't fully fleshed out, if you will?
That is a great question, and I'm sure Eric. We can go
Yeah.
on this forever. This is our. You know what it is. You know what it is, Jeff. Is that we pay the money, and we pay the money, and they're trying to make a deadline, and they know they can't make this deadline, but they still want you to buy this game. That's why this thing is on early release.
You
Early
think so?
release was
Yeah.
never a thing 10 years ago. Never. You had a game
Yeah.
come out,
When it
and
was ready.
maybe and it was ready. It didn't need a patch, it didn't need anything. It was done, it was great. And then maybe 6 months down the road you saw DLC. These games, they come out early release, a week 2 weeks into it they're announcing DLC that you can buy for the game that you just bought, which should have came with the game, but they're going to charge you again. It's just
Yeah.
it's a
So
tough economy, bro.
so I'll say this. That's definitely a PC thing. Because
Here we go.
on well, I'll say this, on console we'll get betas, which essentially be broken games, but
This
the betas are
is
free. But also, in this is a perfect example. I was going to say earlier that I think in one of the interviews with their Assetto Corsa team, they mentioned like targeting like fall 2025 for like the full release. So that 8 kind of month time
Wow.
frame that you mentioned, Jason, is
making
what they're already
sense.
tracking. And that's the time also they said that the console versions will come into play as
Well,
well.
I agree. So console, not to take a stab at the consoles, but
Hmm.
it's very, very locked in hardware. They want to test on a
Hmm.
multitude and they want to add features. That's how I see it with early
Yeah.
releases on the PC. It's always been on the PC, you're correct.
Hmm.
They do have betas on console. But again, I mean, a how do you say this? A console is going to run a game. They tell you it runs at 4K, but it's not really 4K. It's checkerboard 4K.
Hmm.
It's an upscaled version. It's a in quote fake 4K that they have all this technology to make you, like, if you're focused this way, then you can see a 4K image, checkerboard 4K, but anything on your sides or behind you is blurry. Stuff like little tricks like that to kind of make the console be able to run these games. Um,
Hmm.
I just hate that these right here, these system requirements, is going to be painful for most of us. Not everybody has a 4090. Not everybody has a freaking expensive ass computer like that. Some people are
Yeah.
buying and budgeting and staying within. A lot of people build their PCs based off on the titles that we have, today. They weren't really planning on something like this. And I'm just worried about DirectX 12. I'm telling you, DirectX 12 and a custom engine. They're not even using, they went away from the Unreal Engine that they were using. So they
Yeah.
have their own engine and they're running that same engine on DX12.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be interesting.
it's gonna be crazy. So I'm just saying, guys, don't uninstall AC. Don't uninstall ACC. Keep playing iRacing. When this comes out, you give it a test. It's only four
Yeah.
tracks. What is it? Four, right? Four tracks, five tracks, whatever.
Yeah.
A
I
crap
think
ton
it'll
of
be.
cars. Yeah, go ahead. It's gonna
Oh
be
no, I
more of
was.
a test. You know what I mean? Than anything.
Yeah, I was gonna agree with you. Definitely, setting expectations r- realistically. Like to your point, Jeff, when just the announcement of a new Assetto Corsa product was exciting because it's like one of the newer. I guess it's the new kid on the block. But then once people kind of start applying reality to it, it's probably not going to be 100%. And then a little more time goes by, and they're like, well, it's probably really not going to be 100%, especially since it's early access and not the full release. And then it's like, well, it's early access, and it's a very limited piece of the game we're getting. So it's probably really going to be more buggy than we're
Yeah.
expecting. I think, to be honest.
And if it
Um,
isn't, if we're wrong, then go ahead and crucify us, man. But
I
I'm
hope we're
telling
wrong,
you,
right? I mean, I hope we're wrong
yes,
because
yeah,
that means
it's
everybody got a good quality product.
right. And we're not here to hype something up or to give out false expectations. I'm pointing out something that I'm seeing. And I'm telling you, the DX12 with 16 gigs of RAM just for that game, if
yeah,
your system has 16 gigs of RAM, bro, you- you're gonna need some RAM.
yeah,
Your the rest of your system needs to have RAM to run. Like Windows, I think uses anywhere near from 8 to 12 gigs of RAM at any given point just to have the computer on. So add 16 to that and some cushion, 32 gigs of RAM is what you should be looking at. So that's what I mean about take these values and be realistic about them. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I'm curious too. I know we're kind of dragging this on, but I'm curious if this is kind of the target for the early access version of the game or something like that.
um
Has that ever been the case?
mm, you saying that this is the requirements now and then later it'll go up?
Yeah,
I've
because
I've
thinking
never
about
seen
the fact.
that. Yeah.
Okay, I was curious about that because just thinking, since we're not getting like the whole game, like the open world isn't going to be there.
Right, but
It's
the
just going to
engine's
be
the
these
engine, Eric.
tracks.
Once the
Yeah,
content is content, the engine is the engine. The engine will run the game. If they can run Nurburgring and put 50 cars on track and your PC can handle it, I wouldn't worry about the game no more at that point.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
hey,
That's
that
it.
works.
You
All right.
know, we got all this. Yeah. So
Hey, I
and
like it.
and a custom engine, that's another thing. Custom engines that are not really tested by anybody.
They're
Other
about to
than
be.
the yeah.
We're about to test them.
We're about to
The
test.
guinea pigs.
Yeah. And we're paying to
Yeah.
test it too. So
Hey,
uh
2025.
get your credit cards ready, gents.
Yeah, right.
All right, so that's
Yeah.
about it that I have. Is if anybody has any insight or would love to comment on this or have any questions, email us or drop a comment over to Eric.
Yes, sir. Yep. So I had kind of a couple of things I was toying with. I missed you guys for the last recording.
Bro,
I
Mike's
hate that,
pissed off, bro.
bro.
Mike,
Yeah.
Mike,
Hey,
you can
look,
hear me, bro. Can you tell him, please? He's
look.
he's
I
taking
gotta,
it personal. He's taking it
I
personal.
gotta hit up Mike. It's, I promise you, I'm not ducking you, man. I promise you, that's not it. But yeah. But
Mike was upset, bro. He's like, bro, where's Eric? With the,
shout out to Mike. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Constantinos, man. Just I wasn't there to express my appreciation for you guys and the support that
ah,
you've given the podcast. I do want to extend that to you guys. We really appreciate it. It's been great, especially me being newer to the sim racing community, and to have guys of your stature in the community just kind of welcome us with open arms and support, and just share your love with the hobby with us the way you have. Really appreciate that. But it's a new year, and so I just wanted to get kind of your guys's expectations for this upcoming year with any hardware or
Mm.
software or mods, anything that you've already kind of got in your Amazon cart, or anything you're already looking to add to your rig for 2025.
Mm.
Yeah,
You want to go,
Jason.
Jason, or
No,
you
I
want me to
want
go?
I want to hear Jeff. I can't wait to hear Jeff. It's
I
been a
got two.
while.
I got two. The first one, not anything whiz bang.
Mhm,
The wind simulator. I know Michael, and
mhm,
Jason have kind of gave their thoughts on it.
mhm,
Okay.
But I do most formula racing, right? So it's a little bit more applicable than like I guess true GT3 or some type of car sports car driving, right? So because you're open cockpit, if you will. That's pretty
yeah, that'd
straightforward.
be
But
cool.
then the one that I really want,
I'm gonna take a
that the
guess,
one
bro.
that's go ahead.
The belt tensioner.
You got it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like even before
Who's
it
gonna
was
do
kind
it
of,
first, man?
it was even before it came out.
Excuse my French.
Before I saw Michael's Sim Racing Den's review, I think I even reached out to you, Jason, was like, hey, it can't be that difficult to like reach into the telemetry and what value of the brake, just actuates a motor. And like I am probably way simplifying this, right?
Yeah.
um and you can, from what I've read, is you can build them fairly cheap. But then Jason brought up, was like, are you going to plug something that you soldered into your couple
Computer.
$1,000 PC? And I was like, you make a very good point, my man.
I
Yeah.
So
I yeah.
yeah. So I think
That's
the
me
one,
though. Some people do it. I
yeah,
mean,
I just don't have the confidence in my abilities to voltage and amps and my soldering good, like all of the things, right? Like, did my
mhm.
little kid grab the wire as I was soldering the thing or something? Like it just is. I need peace of mind, right? I get in the rig to race. I don't tinker as much as I would like to. So, yeah, I would definitely love the seatbelt tensioner.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
some people think it's cheesy wearing the seatbelt in the rig. To most
Ah,
people, I don't give
oh,
a shit what they say.
I
If
know,
I like
right?
doing it, I'm
You're
gonna
Mhm.
do it because there's nobody
you're in
taking
your own
pictures
house.
in my
Who's
rig as
yeah.
I'm driving. So yeah, like it's my rig. I do it the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's just like I'm all about like trying to make it as realistic as possible as me driving a race
Bro,
car. I'm never
don't you
gonna get
have
to drive a race car.
seatbelts already
I do.
on your
Yeah, I mean I don't use them
you have them
very
for like
rarely.
aesthetic,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
more. Yeah, it just is there every once in a long while. It's usually after a couple cocktails, I'll throw one.
So, all right.
But
So,
that's my thing. Yeah. So long story, real short, is seatbelt tensioner. I would love. Again,
mm,
we talked about this though. Is it's such a high price to even test it. Like
Yeah.
there, you just jump in the pool. Like there's no, like it's send it to me, and if I don't like it, I'll send it back. It's just it's just it's a hard, it's not a cheap piece of gear to add. Um, yeah,
right.
but like I said, that's my goal, would be to add that to the rig, is the
Okay.
seatbelt tensioner.
So I will
Mhm.
comment on the same thing we're talking about, the seatbelt tensioner.
Mhm.
So I don't want to buy it because I want it. I want to test it, but I don't
Mhm.
want to buy it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because that's a rabbit hole waiting to happen. You put the seatbelt tensioner on, right, and it
Mhm.
starts yanking on your shoulder, right, when you're driving. The
Mhm.
next thing you want is the motion to go
Let's
with that.
go. I knew you were gonna go there. It's like the gateway drug, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
And with motion comes bigger screens, bigger space. Now you're looking at 10, 15. Dude, chill. For me,
you chill the
Yeah.
hell out.
Jason, TGSR, yo, I am laying low for now. I kind
Says
of,
Jason, never.
dude, I
Exactly.
I just bought a new PC. I got the freaking active pedal and a steering wheel. I think I'm kind of good right now. And I've heard from many different people about motion platforms that they don't really. It's more of a fun thing. It's not really a realism thing, and
Yeah.
I got you,
it's.
dude.
I
But I would
know.
argue, did you ever see somebody get off a motion rig that wasn't smiling?
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely looks fun.
It looks
You
fun as
know.
shit, but
yeah,
it's
it
Yeah.
looks
wicked
fun.
expensive.
Yeah,
Oh, it's crazy.
it needs to come down. If it
And I,
came down at a reasonable, and when I say reasonable,
like 80%.
4,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
give me half off a $4,000 setup. That way, we can pay this monthly and
Yeah.
not not have to do a freaking $4,000 payment to kind of make it all right. So you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
But I
me,
think
yeah, go ahead.
Constantinos made a point to that is like, hey, like the more companies that make this stuff, the cheaper it gets, the longer it's out, the cheaper it gets. You know, it's kind of like any
True.
technology.
Yeah.
That, you know, the longer it's out, the more companies that start making it. Hopefully we'll start to see some um, you know, cheaper motion out there. But sorry, Jason, go ahead, continue.
No, I think Daniel had the, in my personal opinion, love you, Constantinos, you the man. But I think Daniel had the, I got a good, how do you say, feedback from him. He mentioned that shifters are not getting love that, or the love that he wants them to see. Like, imagine a force feedback H shifter, where when you miss a
Yeah.
gear, it, you know,
That would be cool.
so
Yeah.
that would be something that I would be interested in. But as of right now, the 2nd of January 25, your boy is staying with what he got for now.
Y'all heard it
Yeah.
on the
Yes.
2nd of July, episode
Let's
36,
start the countdown.
the Chicane podcast.
I'll let you know. You'll see pictures first, and then I'm waiting for Jeff to get that tensioner, man. Jeff, let me know if you need like
Your boy's got to go, you know, on some work trips to save up for it.
okay, all right. That's fair enough, though. I mean, hey, that's the beauty
Yeah.
of this hobby. Nothing has to be right now, even though we want it right now. But
Yeah.
you have a working simulator. You know, this is an addition. That's what it is. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
let me see what this is, and now, oh, increase the immersion. But you already
Yep.
have all the tools. I would still say don't sleep on the active pedal. The active pedal has been my favorite piece of gear ever in the entire in the history of my sim racing journey. The active pedal has done it for me big time. Um, I can't. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I can't stress it
Because
enough.
you're going to spit something out that you're going to want to jump into. But I got to
Yeah.
save round, but I want to hear what Eric's got lined up in his Amazon,
Okay. Yeah. What you got, Eric?
his list,
You
wish
can't
list.
ask the
Yes.
questions
Yeah.
Hey,
and just
so
hide behind the mic over there.
oh no. So for me, obviously
The
the
butt
world is
kicker.
my oyster right now. I'm I have the fewest amount of peripherals of everybody. So really anything I can pick up almost anything, but things that I need the most for me personally, um, a legit
What is
seat,
that?
which we already talked about. I already got it in my Amazon cart, and a better monitor mount, one that I can upgrade to triples eventually. Because
See,
I already have a second monitor that I
you're
can mount
doing
up
it
top
right,
for
man,
the
because
living
that's
room.
priority. You know, getting the
Yeah,
field of view right. Um, maybe monitors should be next too if you want them. You know, but if you
yeah, I,
if you can squeeze that, but you know what I'm saying. This
yeah,
other shit that me and Jeff are talking about, the cool stuff. You know,
yeah. I'm
that's
gonna be a cool kid one day.
yeah. You're talking foundation. You know, so I respect that.
Yeah,
Get the
yeah,
foundation right first.
Forget that.
yep.
Get the butt kicker.
Get the butt kicker. That's
Oh man.
foundation. You sitting on it. It's the
Hey,
floor.
so 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 here's the thing. The motivation for me getting the seat is the
Yeah.
butt kicker.
Is
Yes.
the
I
butt
gotta get
kicker.
a legit seat so I can get the butt kicker. I Out of
Uh,
everything that y'all have mentioned, out of every forum I'm in, every group I'm
Bro,
in, everybody has the butt kicker is like,
Eric,
I can't race
stop
without the
playing,
butt
bro.
kicker.
You know why
I
you
can't
want this
race
seat,
without it.
man. You got this raggedy ass Honda Civic seat in the background there.
Hey,
And you
race
told
what
you
you
ain't gotta
brung.
tell
the
me.
raggedy.
Race what you
Look,
brung.
I got my $20 worth out of this seat.
Hell
All
yeah.
right.
Hell yeah, you did. I
So it's
mean,
time to upgrade it. But yeah, but that's
it
really
even got the
the
guts too underneath, right? It's got all the
yep. Look, the
Hell
seatbelt
yeah.
joint on the side and everything, man. That's look, if I could strap a butt kicker to it, I would have already done it. but I can't. So I gotta buy a seat so I get a
We could
bucket crack.
probably engineer something, bro. Definitely, we can
Well, it's
figure
all
something
cloth,
out.
so it really you lose a lot of
Yeah,
feedback on it.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah,
but
between
don't
that
lie to
and
me,
then you
bro.
mentioned,
You want that clean ass seat in the background. You told me this,
oh,
man.
is that? Yeah. Hey, look, I'm looking at your picture. I'm looking at Jeff's. I'm trying to get like y'all, man.
You
Already, I already got some stickers. Some
you got
some
some
vinyl
stickers?
stuff.
I gotta. We'll talk later. How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I'm ready.
I want
And
to say
then
it, but I can't say it.
and you mentioned the monitors, and that was something that I really had to put a lot of thought into because I wanted a monitor that I can buy a single and replace mine, and it works good as a single, but also I can just add triples. So I need to buy,
Later,
yeah, add those later. So I'm looking at
just
the Samsung G7 or the G8,
what?
one of
Oh,
those two.
jeez.
So
G7's right here, bro. Welcome to the
yeah, so
club.
Was
yep.
like
So
240
I could
megahertz or
buy,
whatever.
240,
yeah.
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 And Jason, you have the 2K or the 4K ones?
I have the 2K.
The 2K. See,
You don't
that's what
need,
I'm
you know,
thinking the sweet spot is going to be.
32 is you don't you're are you planning on being here with the monitor? Because if you are, then you can see
Nope.
4K pixels. I mean, it's a waste.
Yeah, that's what
They're
I was thinking.
VA panels, bro. You can't go wrong. You see that? That'll never get screen burn on it. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So I got this for Christmas. I'm holding it in my hands. Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So for me, like I said, I got some of everything I can get
that's what's
like
up, man. Listen,
in order. That's what
as
I'm planning on getting.
what I was going to tell you is, and whoever's listening too, if you're going to go that route, that's a smart way to do it. But just make sure it's a monitor that's not going to get discontinued, right? That's a
Mhm.
monitor that's not going to go away because you need the same panel. Even
Yeah.
though you could buy the identical panel and they will slightly be different from each other, no panel's the same. But the color wise, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the profile and the shape, it needs to match. It needs to stay the same. You
Yeah.
know, some people do some crazy stuff, but I like unison, like uniformity together. So that's a preference. Um, I think it's a good way. I think it's a good way, bro. That's the way. So,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
can
So that's
vouch for
my,
them. They've been here for 4 years almost, and not a peep. And I've
hey.
used the living shit out of these. I'm telling you, I'm
Hey.
surprised that they're, you know, I hope nothing happens to them. They're all good,
Hey.
all three of them. So
Hey, look, that's a testimony that works for me, man. So yeah.
okay,
So that's my hit list
the
stuff.
hit list. All right, Jeff, what you
Yeah.
got? What you got for us, man?
All right. So, uh, I'm cruising, with YouTube on our TV here, and ran into a upload that like the Red Bull F1 team pushed out on their YouTube page, and it was called "Game to Glory." And it's a 4-part episode. They got this dude Sebastian Job that won the Carrera Cup or the Carrera or the Porsche Carrera Tag Heuer Cup on iRacing. It's crazy. Like they show this dude winning, running outside, and like a real racer opens his champagne outside and sprays it on his friends and family, whatever. Kind of weird, but anyways. So this dude wins it, right? And F1,
Mm,
or excuse me, Red Bull reaches out to him and said, "Hey, we kind of want to take you and push you basically as far as you and your ability can go into the real Red Bull cars. Like we're going to take you
wow.
into Red Bull racing. You're going to be part of like a driver." And they make a docu series basically on this dude and his path through it. And they got 4 series. Each one's like 20 minutes, so it's super easy to watch. Just watch it at your leisure. But um, so they have like somebodies in Red Bull talking about sim racing and how like Christian Horner, no kidding, is in the thing talking about how they're starting to use sim racing to evaluate up and coming drivers' skill because it is becoming to the point of so realistic that it's starting to translate to actual real world racing. So he's on
Yeah.
there talking a bunch about it. But
Oh, that's cool, man.
so they bring the dude out there,
Mm,
and in the first car he gets into is a Carrera, and I don't know the track he was at, um, but he jumps into it, and the funny part was, it wasn't funny. It was kind of sad, but they brought a dude, one of the Red Bull drivers in their Carrera Cup, whatever it was, kind of coach him.
Mm.
And the sim racer gets in there and like runs same times as
Oh
the real
shit.
driver, and he's like shit talking him behind his back, be like, "Yo, but there's nobody else out there, so," or I'm like, bro, like it's weird that people look down on sim racers that can make it in the real world. It was amazing. That like it was just it wasn't amazing, really. It was just like, why is this like? Is it because like, hey, like the dude, and I'm gonna, it's wicked expensive to become a
Right.
professional motorsport driver, right? It's just
Yeah.
very expensive, and this dude found a way kind of to do it much cheaper, right? But he logged thousands of hours in iRacing and all of these series that he races in.
Oh, was
Um,
iRacing?
yeah, so
Okay.
excuse you. So
Oh,
the
definitely.
cup that he won, or the series that he won, was in iRacing. Yeah.
Mm.
So he gets in the Carrera, but like, and he was like, oh, they're kind of walking him through the car, and he's like, oh, this is, yeah, yep, okay, yep, just like the game. Okay, yeah, just like the game. It's like, it was like, wow, like the dash that they were showing him in front of in the screen was the same. It was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Um, he did talk about some of the differences that you feel. Like he was saying, hey, when you're in the game, you feel the whole car through your hands, maybe a little bit in your butt if you have an active pedal your foot. But when you're
Mhm.
driving a car, you feel it all around you. Was the first thing he said when he jumped into that car, and I think
Yeah.
that's probably, well, you're not telling us anything we don't already know, right? When you're attached, strapped into the car, you can feel it a lot better than what you would do with a hand in your butt if you have butt kicker and things like that. So we got the
The
Carrera Cup,
G's too. Yeah.
the Carrera. And then they pushed them into like one of the episodes is like, hey, like we want to see what your fitness is, because if we're gonna put you in an F1 car, we want to make sure that, hey, your body can withstand the G's of going around a corner.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you would think a sim racer going through a fitness thing would do. He like pulls a muscle in his neck, and like they have to stop the training.
Oh.
You're like, oh, bro, come on, you're giving us a
Ah.
bad name here. So I
Oh
don't want to
man.
steal it all. I'm over exaggerating what really happened, but give that portion a watch. You're like, bro, come on. Like a lot of people are watching this stuff. Can you push through the
So
pain a little bit? Like it was.
so they're on
Yeah.
episode, what episode are they on? I haven't seen this
It's a
yet.
4-part series. I've watched them all, and I think the first one
Oh, cool.
is the Carrera. The second one is like the fitness portion of it. But like they're doing the same thing, like neck exercises that you see Verstappen and all the F1 guys doing. Like the torso twisting and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So then like the third and fourth one, they actually go to the Red Bull ring, and they throw this dude into a F4 car. So 200 horsepower, a little bit of downforce, and it's like 40 degrees, super cold
Mm.
day. And the dude's like, it's
Wow.
driving on like ice out here. Uh,
Probably feel
so
it.
he had a hard time adapting to the temp. It was colder, hard to warm him up the tires. The coach they had for the Formula car was much better than the other guy. The other dude, that
Mm.
dude was that for the Formula was super about getting this guy faster. He like they bring in after a session of going out there. He's like, "Yeah, feel these tires? They're still cold.
Mm.
Like you can't expect to be going around the track, with all the downforce on cold tires. It just is what it is today."
Oh,
Um,
snap.
so,
And it's
but they,
colder too, right?
yeah,
Because with wind and stuff, wind chill, wind,
yeah, and
I
dude,
would
it was
assume.
overcast. It was a super crummy day. But they
Oh,
Oh
compare
man.
his F4 times to like F4s going around the Red Bull ring, and this dude is right there for times. And then they're like, "Hey, go out there for a 10 lap, a 10 lap, and we'll see how consistent you are." And this dude is like all within like a half a second, all his 10 laps, and people are starting to look at each other like, "Boy, this boy can drive." Like
yeah.
you're like, so then they put him in the F3.5. I didn't know they made an F3.5 car. So
Yeah, that's news to me.
excuse me here
I
for not
know.
knowing that. Like
I
um
have no idea what that means.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's yeah, F3.5, but it's 500 horsepower from 200. So there was a bit of a learning
Oof.
curve for there, because like you can't just mash on the throttle, like you got to lay
That's
it
a
on.
big jump, bro. That's
Yeah,
double
big
the
Yeah.
jump. Now,
horsepower.
but so the big jump was him trusting the downforce around the corners, right? Because You're
Mm.
going in there faster than you probably are used to because you have so much downforce. So that took a little bit of learning curve, but the dude's times were still competitive. So,
Hmm.
Mm.
long story short, the last episode, they throw this dude in a Red Bull F1 car, probably 2 cars ago. It's the one with
Okay.
the
Mm.
shorter,
Wing,
wing in
shorter
the
wing.
back. Yep, in the back. But
Mm.
nonetheless, a 1,000 horsepower car,
Oh, yeah.
downforce, right?
Sheesh.
And this dude does like 1 lap, and he's like, "Now I know what you were talking about with neck muscles." It's just like
Yeah.
he's like,
Oh, yeah.
pulling legit G's around the track. Um, and he pulling very competitive lap times. I don't want to give it all away and stuff because people really should. It's a super interesting. Go spend an hour and a half of your time
Right.
on YouTube. People have spent way worse times on YouTube.
Yeah.
Talking about this dude, he's a premier sim racer, right? But translating
Mhm.
to an actual, no kidding, race car, and compared to people that have been doing this professionally for a living in a real race car.
Yeah.
Super interesting point. They have Christian Horner on there that was talking. Um, but yeah, it was definitely worthwhile, for our listeners to go check that out. Um,
Well, it's
Dude,
interesting,
gentlemen,
man.
Yeah.
I want to jump in and see how much it is to go get, like, there's got to be places around that you can like pay to go drive an F4 car around for a couple hours, right? Take a class. Tell me that wouldn't be a freaking
That would be,
blast.
yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
that'd be
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
would
mean,
want, I would want the F 3.5 though, bro.
yeah, I don't know.
500
Yeah.
Just throw
horsepower.
you into the 3.5,
Oh
like a
Hell
man.
yeah,
500
I
horsepower car.
want that.
Shoot. Telling
Super
you.
So
interesting though.
my take on this is, it's 20. It's, well, now it's a lot more than 20 drivers, right? We're growing F1
Mm.
cars. I mean, F1 drivers. Um, I'm gonna say this, and this is an opinion. I don't want anybody to get offended, or whoever watches or listens, just hear me out. We're all human. We have two arms, two legs, and a pair of eyes. If you have the drive to race, you have, so half of it is physical. You have to be somewhat physical. You have to be reactive, right? Which is
Mm.
why they want young, because young drivers are everything. Everything works. Everything's healthy. Everything is there.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, they can easily fix it. When you get older, it kind of gets harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it is, like you said, it's a rich man sport. You need to have money. You need to have become. You need to come from. You, you need to basically dedicate your entire life as a kart driver and then move up to F1. You don't
Yeah.
just jump in it like after your 20s. You if you're 20, it's kind of, the dream's kind of dead after that, man.
Yeah,
If you're not there,
that ship has sailed.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
kind of. But that doesn't mean that because you drive in a simulator, that I love stories like this because it legitimizes sim racing. And yeah, some people
Yeah.
don't want to hear that because they worked their ass off. They stayed off of the video games and they've been on, real life stuff,
They
training.
spent
Yeah.
gajillions of dollars too.
But hear
Yeah.
this. I mean, I believe sim racers have more track time than real life drivers.
Yep.
Straight up. If you compare, you can drive anytime, any day, provided you have the free time, of course,
Mhm.
uh 2 or 3 hours a day. These guys are driving only, that one time, or they go there for practice and then they do a weekend there.
Yep.
You can drive the Nürburgring every day
Yep.
and post thousands of laps versus their laps. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yep.
And in a simulator that's super accurate in an F1 car or in different F1 cars or what have you. So I mean, I believe that, sim racing is important. It needs to be part of racing. It needs to be there because that's how you get that more of familiarity with the track. That's how you get faster, right? Is practice. And you
Yeah.
know the rules. You can't practice outside of the, calendar. You
Yep.
can't. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, Jason. The just at a certain point, the amount of lap time, I mean track time you get plays a factor. But also I think just kind of, things change. So the traditional route is, maybe you started on karts and then moved up, F4,
Mhm.
F3, or whatever. But imagine if instead of having to fool around with karts, you were in a GT3 car or F1 car in a simulator your entire adolescence. So you're already getting used to that car and the speed and
Mhm.
all of that stuff. And then you move over to F4 and F3 and
Yeah.
go that route. And that's like a legitimate path. That's a lot more direct because just driving carts is totally different, mechanics wise, like everything is
100%.
different about carts. So you don't develop muscles for something that you're not going to use. Granted,
True.
your reaction time might be there and just like the endurance and all that stuff. But, I think there's a um, le- legitimate path for simulators
And you know
to
what's
get you to that point.
impressive? Jeff, going back to the show, the mini series, I guess if we're gonna call it
Mm,
that, is that think about how this sim racer must have felt. He's probably pressured. He's probably scared.
mm,
There's all people talking shit about him behind his back,
yep.
and it's not the same when you're in your house and you jump in your rig and there's nobody to bother you like that. No one's
Mm,
judging your racing and you could focus more. But now
yep.
you have all this pressure, like they got these real life drivers, and like, look at this guy. I'm just saying, if he was fast on track those days, I,
Mm,
I believe he could be faster in a more mature way. You know what I mean? Later.
yeah,
Yeah, the
definitely.
dude was given like 1 day with a Carrera and throwing up respectable times. I
Yeah.
mean, come
Yeah.
on, like give the guy a week and I bet he'd be, super
Yeah. That's
competitive.
another
I mean,
thing.
like, come on,
Let
yeah,
him
Yep.
to your
feel
point.
out the car. Let him feel
Yeah.
the freaking car out real quick.
Yep. Get those nerves out the way. And
Yeah.
then
Put him on the track, turn the radios off, turn the cameras off. Just
yeah.
go. You'll see, bro.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he did say when he was in the F1 car, he was like, that was the first time that acceleration was different. Like in the Carrera, that was okay.
Yeah.
When you put your foot on the floor with that F1 car, he's like, oh,
I need to go and watch this. I'll leave a link in the
Yeah.
description to find this show. I think it's very relevant and interesting to our hobby. So thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's about that time again. So
Yes, sir.
I kind of spoiled it, but I'm gonna act like I don't know. Eric, what is the track of the week, bro? What you
the
got for us,
the
man?
track of the week, you guys will never guess what the track of the week is going to be. Track of the week is going to be Laguna Seca.
Laguna
Kind of,
Seca.
yeah, kind of as we mentioned earlier. It's one of the tracks that's going to be featured in the
It's a boot,
upcoming.
guys. It's a boot.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Well,
Is
so
it
we
not
got
a
some
boot?
different. We got some different iterations, right?
I don't know where
So
you're seeing the boot.
yeah, we'll start out with the OG, and there's some
Damn,
The
bro.
OG.
interesting
That's a big
motivators,
change.
yeah, for some of the changes.
That's
But as
pretty
you can see, the
boring back in the
corkscrew was
day.
one of the original designs. But just getting into I guess, like the history of the track. So the entire reason why Laguna Seca was even thought of was because road racing had become very popular, but sadly, it had also become very dangerous. And it literally was just the evolution of the cars. So they were doing road racing like in the 50s. And as cars got faster, more and more people started having wrecks. And there were a couple of notable wrecks that spurred them to come up with a dedicated track. And so literally like listen to this time frame, right? So the idea that they need to come up with a new track started August 1956. They put a group together, and the group was called the Sports Car Racing Association of the Monterey Peninsula, also known as SCRAMP. They put this organization together in August of 1956. These guys got together and said, we're going to go ahead and announce our first race for the track that has not even been built yet, for the track we don't even have the money for yet.
Oh
Bold
my
move,
Right.
god.
Cotton.
So they announced this in August of 57. And the announcement was, yeah, our first race is going to be in November. Didn't have the
oh,
money, didn't have the track.
I miss those days where people just did
In
stuff.
in 60 days, they raised $125,000
In the
and
In
50s.
constructed
50s.
In the
in the
50s.
50s. This is how
Yes.
many people were interested in racing. Like this is how off the cuff this was. So the
Where
lead
where where is this
architect.
again? Where is this again? Laguna Seca?
So this is in the Monterey Peninsula. Let me get you the
I'm
exact
just
location.
curious, man. 100K. We're talking USD, right? I mean,
Yeah.
100K in the 50s was like 500,000 equivalent now, maybe more.
Yeah, it's probably more. It's in Salinas, California.
Oh, Cali. So a lot of
Yeah.
things happen in Cali. Hmm.
Yep. So they were doing a lot of road racing out there. And so just a little tidbit, Laguna Seca actually is Spanish for dry lake. So it's
Yep.
in a lake bed. So that's one of the reasons why they're able to construct the track so quickly, because essentially the ground had already been prepped and they just kind of had to lay out the design. But the hilarious thing is the lead architect, a guy named Wallace Holm, he said the plans that I drew of the track weren't drawn until after the track was completed. He said we literally drew a rough diagram in the dirt, staked it out, and the bulldozers moved in and went to work. Like that's how just
Yeah.
fast and
He
like
probably
hot and
showed
heavy
up
they
one
threw
day
this
and was
track
like, "What
together.
the hell is this?
Hey, let me
I didn't
change my
design
drawings
this."
to match the real world.
Yeah, yeah. And so it was 9 turns for the first course, as you can see here. Um, they had the corkscrew, which is crazy, and just the elevation and everything. But Laguna Seca has a lot of
Bro,
a
that corkscrew
long
is
sweeping.
deadly if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's that corkscrew. You know, that'll be the end of
It's
everything.
iconic. I think it's known for that
Yeah,
corkscrew.
yeah. And it was interesting when I was looking at it because how sometimes they add a little flair and flavor to tracks over time. So you can see in '57 when it first started, they had the corkscrew, but also they host a lot of different racing events here. But they also host a lot of motorcycle races here, and a lot of the changes to the tracks were influenced by input from the motorcyclist. So that was one of the I thought kind of unique things about this track. We think about a lot of these race courses and only think about cars, but they were actually pretty much going hand in hand with cars and motorcycles. So that influenced some of the changes that they made to the tracks. But let me get to some of the other just kind of interesting points. So for their inaugural race, they had 35,000 paying spectators for their first race.
Wow.
And this is basically 3 months' time that all this was announced. The race was announced, was put together, and 35,000 people paid to come see the first
That's
race, which
With
just lets you
crazy,
know
what'd you say,
bro.
how,
60 days heads up?
yeah. And that just
Two
lets you know
months.
how important racing was even back then, especially in California. That was pretty cool.
Well, we didn't have
Um,
internet, man. We were kind of bored back then. We needed
so
something to do, Eric, bro.
that's true, but also if you think about it, getting 35,000 people to show up to a first race with no internet, with no
I-
social media, with
Honestly,
none of
yeah.
that, that's
Right.
great. That's I
I
mean,
think if they opened up a track here in Hawaii, the
mhm.
entire island will be at this track, bro. I
Oh yeah,
promise you.
Oh, it'd be
So
huge.
oh
yeah, it'd be
yeah,
huge. So
yeah,
I
that'd
could
be
see that
crazy.
happening still, even with
Yep.
even
But
this time. And yeah.
so one of the other things I guess is kind of more closely related to us. We like to mention the first game that it was featured in. So the first game to feature uh, Laguna Seca was Gran Turismo 2. Was the first game to feature
Hmm.
Ah.
Laguna Seca. Yep.
Hmm.
So GT showed them love first, as they do. But I just want to go through some of the changes here. So from the initial change, initial track
What
to
is that?
the
They added a
first
pit lane?
change.
Let me see that again.
Yeah, not much change.
It looks like
Yeah,
I had a
It
pit
yeah,
looks
they
like the
lane.
added a
exact
pit
same
lane
thing.
here after turn 9. Looks like on the way to the
Yeah, like
flag.
a division. That's part of the pit lane.
Yeah.
They didn't have a pit lane, bro, in the 50s. What
Hey man,
for?
they look 60 days. You ain't got time to be on no pit
Yeah,
lane,
you,
man.
you get what you get.
They
And y'all
refuel
go pull
you
over on the side
middle of the
and do
road. Like,
whatever.
hey, pull over, bro. You need gas.
Yeah. And so you see the pit lane developed a little bit more from 68 all the way to 85.
Probably some
Still mostly the
crashes,
same
bro.
shape. Then 86 and 87, they made like a little minor change.
Oh, it stayed that shape for a long time, huh? Look at that.
Yep. All the way through the 80s,
It's
88,
30
89.
years.
That's when they
Ooh,
added
Wow.
the kink here. They did a major change here.
Yeah,
Just
that's
added more
huge.
turns. That's a
Huge.
huge change for this track back in 89. And from 90 to 95, looks like they kind of made the pit lane a little bit more elaborate to kind of, I guess, better flow with the new track design.
Right. So that way
'Cause-
you exit on a turn which is not high speed, not so
Yeah.
high speed as a straightaway, which for
Yep.
safety, I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Yeah, because you see here, you come out the pit lane,
You
you're
get
it's wide
wrecked,
trying.
open.
bro. Doing
Wrist
100
feel
Fourth
lights
gear
plus.
coming out.
pulling.
Yeah. And then, so the last change happened in 1996, and they have the Andretti hairpin named here. But
Okay.
as far as major changes, that's about it.
It looks
Oh,
like
no, no, no. It
one major
shrunk a little.
change.
No, right there. Go to 90. You see turn 10. Look at turn 10.
Mhm.
It They made it wider. Let me see. Go again. Yeah,
Oh,
they
they
made
did a
it.
little bit.
They
Yeah.
cut it. They cut it shorter. They slowed
Ah,
it
okay.
down.
Yeah,
They slowed it
I can see
down.
that. And
People,
and
I
they
wonder
also
why, dude. You never.
yeah, and I think they also added some safety precautions on these on turn
Runoff.
11 and
Hmm.
T2. There's some
Yeah,
runoff on the sides of those as well, just for safety. But yeah, man.
looks like a boot, man. I don't know. Like you see the
So
toe shape, and
so
then
to
that's
me,
the.
this looks like almost like a Egyptian kind of headpiece or mask. Think about this the neck, and then like this the face, this the nose, this the top of it.
Oh,
Ah,
I see it.
If they're
yeah,
looking straight
yeah.
up.
Like
I don't know where the
Pharaoh.
I
Like
don't know where the
Pharaoh,
boot
Yeah,
bro.
came in from.
yeah.
I don't know. I see a boot, man.
I
Don't
think
hate
once you
me.
see the boot, you can't unsee the boot.
It's a
But
boot to me. That's
but
what's
yeah,
up,
man,
though.
one of the most beloved tracks, most popular tracks, well respected tracks. Interesting history, and apparently when they came up with it, it was the perfect time because the money was there, the people were there. Um, I don't know,
Yeah, man.
got me wanting to spend some laps on Laguna Seca.
You should, man. AC Evo is gonna have Laguna Seca.
Yep,
Uh assuming, which is cool. Game in 2025 is gonna have the latest and greatest of track scans anyway. I
yep,
hope.
yeah, they better.
I know. It's not like F1 that they come out with an F1 2024 and they still
Oh
got
yeah.
Spa from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ah,
Hey,
um,
can I show something real quick here, Jason?
yeah, what you got?
Since we do this so often, I was looking at it overview. Since we do this all the time,
Oh,
look
yeah.
what they
ah,
got. It's like a requirement that if you have a track, there's some type of go-kart track
Yo,
on
yeah,
the grounds of the track.
that's in depth,
that's
dude. You
dope.
see that? Imagine taking your son there, bro, with his electric
Oh,
go
bro,
kart.
that would be
Yeah,
sweet.
Ain't
that'd
nobody
be
there.
cool.
Look, you just roll up.
Yeah,
Perfect
but it's
time,
cool.
man.
Like it's like a requirement that they have that stuff. I don't know that they have
Yeah,
like
it's
a.
cool. They got the corkscrew named on there too.
All
So
Yeah,
right. So that's
yeah.
Laguna Seca for
Laguna
track of
Seca.
the week. If you guys want to see any suggestions, let us know. However, right after AC Evo, we have our next two tracks that we revealed today, which is going to be Imola, and I forgot the other one. I don't have it at the top of my. Wait a minute, let me check my notes here. It's going to
Mm.
be Imola, and it's going to be Brands Hatch to
Yeah,
cover
Brands
the two
Hatch.
before the game launch. That way, you guys have a little more oomph on what you're going to be racing on. So
Yep.
I think I'm a huge Imola fan, so I'm going to take that one. Um,
Right.
for the next track of the week, it'll be me. And yeah, famous track, famous driver died there. I'm not going to spoil, but thank you so much, Eric, for that track of the week. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man.
So that's going to conclude the main discussion track of the week. We have some questions or and remarks, comments that were sent to us during the holidays, and we didn't cover those because we had a year closeout, and then we took a break. It didn't seem like we took a break, but we kind of did. So we kept the content flowing for you. Make sure you have your fix every Monday. So I'm going to go ahead and not disregard those who emailed the show while we were all on holiday and vacation slash break. So for the first one, let me go to it. It's going to be from a gentleman called Damien Caratachea. I hope I got that right.
I'm glad
Says
you said that, not me. I'd have been.
Caratachea.
Hey,
Says, hello, guys. Just wanted to start off with telling you guys how amazing the show is. Thank you very much. It's always good to hear that, man. It telling
yeah.
you, touches my
Humbling.
heart. Yeah, humbling. Yes. I just started listening about 2 weeks ago and almost caught up on the back catalog. Yes. Binge away, bro. Binge
Yes,
away.
sir.
We had it
Appreciate
on all platforms. You can listen to it in your sleep, bro.
it.
You guys have great chemistry in the shows. Yep, we're all friends.
Mhm.
I've never seen Eric before in real life.
That's crazy.
I've known him for
Yeah.
almost 11 years, and he might be a cyborg for all we know. He might be an
Hey,
AI from the
I'm
future or
telling you,
some
man.
shit.
You never know.
It says, I've been racing on iRacing and I'm about to make the leap to GT3 series. I don't own a GT3 car yet. So I wanted to ask you guys if we could talk about choosing the process um, of choosing your first GT3 car. So here's the beauty. There's a plethora of options. We just got the new Acura. The
Mm.
McLaren came out on the last, not this last update, but the one before that. Honestly, GT3 is a very healthy playlist. You could find races from rookie all the way up to A class in iRacing.
Mm.
Now, I'm going to suggest the Ferrari 296. Why? Because the Ferrari, not only is it part of IMSA, not only is it part of the rookie series, it's also part of the Rain series. And on top of that, Ferrari has its own Ferrari GT3 club. So with that one car, you can race all those series. So, and if you fancy, I would buy a second one. And for my second choice, it would have to be the McLaren. So the McLaren, you've heard it from Daniel Moore here on the show. He vouched for the car, said the car feels amazing, it feels realistic, and that just touched my heart. I'm a McLaren fan, just like Danny Newman. But your first purchase, 100%, the Ferrari 296. You can't go wrong. It's tried and true. It's a fast car. It's beautiful. It sounds good. It's easy to drive. And you have nothing but options when you want to jump in and race. Does anybody have any other inputs on GT3?
Yes.
Oh,
So
let's
I
hear
took
it.
your advice.
You
Remember,
did.
I bought the Ferrari, and it's a dream to drive. I mean,
Okay.
you know when you mess up, it's because you messed up. It's not anything weird with the car.
You know you don't
The
messed up,
car,
right?
yeah. So that's always something great. It just it drives. If you take care of it, it'll take care of you. Like you said, I feel like I can drive fast in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's and it's GT3, which great braking,
Yes.
good acceleration, good
You
handling.
can slam her in the corner, bro. Don't be
You
scared.
could, yep, you can put take her in the corners, decent downforce. It's just a great class to drive in, and that's a great car to drive in.
Yeah, you have multi-class IMSA. You could drive there with it.
Yep.
It's open to you. So, Jeff, you got any inputs? I know you don't do much GT3, man, but
I don't know.
you
So
should, man.
I know I should. I do occasional sports car. I'm still a rookie just because I just don't grind it a little bit. But
Mm.
ACC, I love the McLaren.
Okay, there you go.
I'll leave it
You
at that. It just
you
is. It speaks to me. I feel like it handles well for ACC. The McLaren.
okay? So
Yeah.
so we got McLaren fans here too. I mean, it's a great car. It's very I don't want to say easy. It's just a little more on the forgiving side, right? If you
And it
drove,
looks good. Let's be honest, it looks good.
yeah, it
Yeah, it
sounds good too.
looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little forgiving. It's not like let me see, a Porsche, which sounds
Oh,
amazing, but
tries to kill
she
you.
can she will twist you around and you don't might not want to drive it no more. So yeah, that's our take on the GT3 selection. Should be very simple, highly recommended. And I will add this. If you have any questions on tracks or cars, you can go to IR, it's called iRacing Buyer's Guide, irbg.net, and you can see for yourself how many times that Ferrari is being raced this season. And I'll leave that link in the description below for you to check out. So thank you so much, Damien. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. And who's got the next question or the comment question, whatever? Uh, we'll go down the list real quick before we shut down today.
All right. Yeah, I can do the next one just real quick. From Mr. Kenneth. Shout out to Kenneth. He says, I enjoy listening to the podcast and just ask, do you guys sell shirts or promote the podcast? Keep up the good work. And I know we were talking about a little bit before. We don't right now, but it might be in the works.
We are looking into options on that. And when we do, we'll definitely reveal it here on the show. But
Oh, yeah.
that's a great idea. And I really thank you, Kenneth, for providing us that feedback. And it sounds like you want to support us. So that would be kind of cool to have a bit of merch on the show, right? So,
Bro,
yeah,
never thought we the Chicane podcast would have some merch or some people asking for merch. It's awesome.
I'm telling
people
you.
asking for
Appreciate
merch.
our listeners. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
we're
it's been dope.
definitely we're gonna sit down and bump heads together and see what we could pull off. And see how we're gonna work this out. But it's definitely in the works. I've been thinking about it for a while. I just want the show to grow more, and I want you guys to continue to like our videos and share our videos and promote it because that's gonna bring more exposure and it's gonna help later. So,
Yeah,
all
definitely.
right, Jeff,
Yeah,
what you got?
I'll knock off the last one here. So this individual asked to be, I wouldn't say anonymous, but just not kind of mentioned. So I'm going to paraphrase kind of their email. So this individual, caught us on, watches us or listens to us on YouTube. He is on the East Coast. We'll just kind of leave it at that. He's a class driver, but quote unquote does not mean I'm fast. Agreed. I'm a B class driver and don't claim to be fast either. But he's got quite the rig from the reading of it. But basically, he is asking if we are interested or offering or would be willing to hold like a 1 hour a week practice session where basically anybody that listens to us or doesn't listen to us for that matter wants to just jump in and I guess drive with us and talk, shoot the shit, try to get faster, rub some, trade some paint, and just have a good old time with the boys. Basically what we do now, just talk with the three of us, talk about sim racing, and at the same time, just drive, I guess. So if that is something that our listeners are interested in, make a comment, let us know, and we'll kind of feel everybody out. It's not something I guess we thought anybody would be really interested in, but if that's something that you'd be interested in dropping in and 1 hour a week, super casual, not a race or anything like that, just go out there and practice session we'll put together. We'll find a time that works, I guess, the best. But if you're interested in that, put a comment and just let us know, and we'll take that for feedback and see what we can do. It'd be pretty interesting to actually get on the track with some of our listeners if that's something you guys are interested in. So
There's
yeah, I'm just
also
paraphrasing here.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
There's also the iRacing League option. I mean,
Mhm.
2 out of 3 of us are already signed up for it.
Yep.
Um, Jeff can probably get into the Euro side. That's kind of the late nights if he wants to, if he has time. Um, and I'm only saying that because their group is massive, and it'll be us in there with you. So it'll be not just us; it'll be a bigger group, all of us together. So that's
Yeah.
my take on that. But if you want to
Mhm.
host something private, then I'll be okay with that. I'll be
Yeah.
totally down for that. So um, And we have one more, and this one's kind of dear to me because he was one of the first ones to send us an email. Mr. Bob Burke says,
Mm.
"Hello, Jason, Eric, and Jeff. A quick note to wish you all the best of the season and a happy, prosperous new year. I enjoy your show every week. Keep up the good work." So thank you so much, Bob. I'm glad you stuck it out with us from the early days till now.
He's an OG, man.
Yeah,
He is an
man.
Yeah.
absolute OG.
If the
Yep.
show
Appreciate
blows
it.
up, we're definitely gonna we're gonna save this name, man. There'll be some trinkets.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna be it today. Thank you so much for being here, and for all you listeners and viewers, please like our videos, subscribe, and yeah, send us notes, send us emails. We love getting these.
Yeah.
Or comment below. Same, I'm always there to respond. I get to them. Sometimes I get to them late, but I usually get to every single comment that I could possibly get to if I have the answer. But yeah, anything else, guys, before we close?
Nothing from me.
Nothing here, buddy.
But
Oh, shoot. I almost jinxed the whole thing. Drive fast and brake late.
okay,
Oh, man.
there it is. Drive fast and brake late, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. And welcome to 2025. Hope you had a happy new year. And yeah, thank you so much, and enjoy the start of your week. Thank you.